Hey everyone, I think it's time to begin the session.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining. My name is Govind from Kuberan's House core team. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer of Kuberan's House. Thank you all once again for joining on a weekend, Saturday. We have great amount of speakers and representatives from the team, and I welcome all the attendees. I would start introducing the topic, the session flow, and also introducing the key speakers for today and the speakers. Um, Having said that, I would request all the attendees to please have your mic on mute and keep your videos off until the session ends. The session will be for 45 minutes. And as a moderator, I would request all to have these rules followed to keep this webinar successful from all the ends. Having said that, I would welcome our keynote speakers and speakers today. The topic for today is talking more about 100 Open Startups as a global ecosystem partner to us. Association with, we also have WOW as our alumni partner network. And we welcome Mr. Varad and Mr. Dr. Bruno from 100 Open Startups core team, the CEO and the president and the co-founder. Having said that, it's a great privilege for me to be today along with the keynote speakers. I'll make those introductions soon. I also welcome Sanjeev sir, who is the co-founder and CEO of Kuberan's House, along with Srini, who are also speakers today. Srini also is the CEO of Express Delivery. He's been a great support as well. So having said that, today's session, guys, is going to be introducing our keynote speakers. Dr. Bruno has been the CEO of 100 Open Startups and the Center of Innovation. Has been done a lot of things in a stint of career plan and initiatives. He's been working also at the aerospace, previously at various executive positions for the defense sectors as well. He's also been the business strategy for various scientific master degree programs and initiatives. He's also done academic exchange programs at Berkeley University as well, and many more under his belt. He's also powered a lot of startup initiatives through 100 Open Startups, and has been a great support to the global ecosystem and initiatives of startup ecosystems. Having said that, I would request and thank all the members of the attendees who have joined in now, and welcome Mr. Bruno. Mr. Bruno, are you here? Mr. Bruno, can you just say hi to the attendees?
Hi, Govind. So, Bruno will be joining a bit later.
Okay.
So, I would like to start. I would like to start for the time challenges we have, because he's based in the US time, and it's still very early there. And so I just thought I can start on behalf of this program, because we've been co-founders together, and I thought I will talk about all that you just mentioned. Thank you so much for the introduction. So can I go ahead?
I would also want to introduce you to the the attendees, so that we will have it loop completed and we will have this session kick started. So
sure.
Yeah, and also guys, to introduce Mr. Varad, who's been the co-founder of 100 Open Startups and various other initiatives. A great track record in his career of 25 years, with 5 good exits, including 2 IPOs from various initiatives, startups, and companies he's been a part of. He's also a part of a great initiative along with Mr. Bruno, helping the startup ecosystems across various sectors, global platforms, which provides a global exposure to startups and exchange initiatives in terms of incubation and other ecosystems. Mr. Varad holds a bachelor degree in electronics and communication, and also post-graduation systems management. And he's been one of the true spirits in the startup ecosystem introductions, helping them going global, giving them the opportunity, the outreach that the startups always look for. And that will be one of those topics that will be discussed today. Having said that, Varad, if I missed out something, I apologize, but I think there are so many stories and initiatives that we would love to share. If I missed out anything, it's you can also add on more points into it, and we can have it done. So
Thank you so much, Govind,
yeah,
and thank you, Sanjeev, and your team.
yeah,
It's a great pleasure to be here. So let me begin my talk with my own experiences. So one important information which I want to share with you is I'm somebody, after finishing my graduation, I went on to study further and then work with large companies before I became an entrepreneur. So in this journey of entrepreneurship, I've been through 5 exits. Okay. And two of them are IPOs. Two of those exits were IPOs. And those experiences what I would like to share how I started out from India and then went on to scale that globally is something which I see as a major challenge today's entrepreneurs in India are facing. And so we all thought something local within your own city or your own town, and then you have to scale it globally. So for all the people in the audience, who are looking at entrepreneurship, who are trying to become startups and so on, I would like to encourage you, okay, by saying that you have started your journey. Now you have to build on this, and this Kuberan House is a great opportunity to showcase, your talent and your idea, and get validation from investors. So before that, let me talk to you about how we built this program. It is something which we founded in UC Berkeley in 2007 with the support of 40 big companies like Intel, IBM, HP, Siemens, Shell, to just give you a few names. Today, there are 5,000 big companies in the program, and they together bring out problem statements. So this is called as grand challenges. And any entrepreneur, or we call researchers, right, in the universities, or even startups who have a solution against these problem statements can apply. And then they are taken through 5 levels of filter. Okay. So I'm hearing a message that from Mohammed Omar that the voice is not clear. Is it clear now? Are you able to hear me clearly, Farooq? Yes, good, thank you. So, this is something I wanted to share with you all is that you have to look at, your idea from the idea stage, wherever you are right now. Ideation is the first step. You get an idea, then you talk to people to validate whether this idea will work. And if it works, you want more support, more resource, more funding to take it to next level. So this is how entrepreneurship works, not only here, but worldwide, that you need support from your ecosystem. And the ecosystem could be incubators, could be accelerators. So most of the time, these incubators are part of the university that you're studying or the institution that you're part of. And from there, you will be able to get resource in terms of mentorship, in terms of guidance,
yeah.
and they will help you to go to the next level. And
Yes.
once you've gone to that level, you can then pick outside of it. So, Govind, would you please request again, you want to mute because I'm
Yeah,
getting
that's
a
my
message.
fault.
I
So
think
your mic
Yeah.
has.
Kindly, all the contestants, I mean, all the other participants, just kindly switch off your mics, please.
yeah.
So I think
Thank
the
you.
three off. Everyone is switched off. Probably, so, Mr. Bharat, you could just turn off your audio once and turn it on. Probably to just check.
Yeah. Okay, let me see now. How is it?
Yeah,
Is it
looks
good?
okay now.
Okay,
Looks
great.
okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. So my request is once again, please mute your audio because I'm told that it is giving some echo. Anyway, I hope it is fixed. So coming back to what I was saying is that we have to have that problem-solving mindset. problem-solving mindset is we should not build products and solutions and then look for problems, because that is doomed to fail. Because many times entrepreneurs, with their enthusiasm, start building products without knowing that there is no market for it. The market fit is a major reason. Lack of market fit is a major reason most startups fail. Okay, and our goal through this Kuberan House is to prevent such failure. We want to we want to get early validation from investors and others in the ecosystem. Like we call these people who are tutors, who will then help the startup to go to the next level.
Sure. Mr. Bharat, with that, it actually opens up two questions for me. In the flow of the discussion is how does, startup ecosystems like 100 Open or, let's relate other accelerators or incubators play a key role, in startups journey, right? What makes, a program like 100 Open become a part of a success story in a startup is one question. And probably the other question, which is slightly related to 100 Open Startups initiative, is at what point do you think startups can start thinking global, right? And how does a global exposure, presence, and support like 100 Open do it, right? So these are the two questions I have as an extension to your discussion to cover these topics, Mr. Bharat. Yes.
Sure. Thank you. So let me first talk about the first question that you asked. What is the role of accelerators, incubators, and the program like 100 Open Startups? This is a very important question for people in the audience. And I'll answer it like this, right? Incubation is the first step. That is, the analogy we always draw about incubation is, when a baby is born, sometimes they're kept in an incubator. And then once it becomes healthier, they're taken out of the incubator, because the incubator is a process by when the baby is in a very high level of risk. Okay. By putting them in the incubator, you're giving them a very secure environment. In that environment, they can grow and flourish. So the role played by incubators is the same. The chance of failure is very high. The early stage is a very high failure rate. So to prevent that failure rate, we have resources like mentors, resources like people who are keen to guide them. You can call them mentors and guides, and they also give them education sessions about how to handle different challenges in their entrepreneurship journey.
Sure.
So that is what an incubator does. And once you've gone through an incubator, then you can approach an accelerator where it is accessing the market. So let us say you're building a product or a solution. That product or solution is something which you need support from an incubator, because you get a grant, you'll be able to say hire people. These incubators provide resources through which the startup can build a minimum viable product MVP.
Mr. Bharat, I would request there are some concerns on the audio. If you need to join back once, there's a lot of echo. There's a lot of. It's okay. Yeah, please, sir.
Sir, please maintain some distance between the mic and your voice. Then that would be fine. Yes.
No, I'm maintaining sufficient distance. Let me do the following.
But there's been a lot of.
Let me do the following. Maybe I will, try in another method. Let me switch this off and try again. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Govind, I think.
Yes,
guys, everybody there. There are a lot of known people around, and good to see you all. I mean, this is my first webinar on Kuberan's house, so there are quite a few people.
I still
How
have an
is it now?
introduction.
Have you able to hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you well, sir.
Yes.
Is it better?
It's better, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I was just mentioning to you how an incubator plays a role of startup in the early stage where not enough support, then you will be able to go to the next level with the support of accelerators. There are many accelerators today in the country. We call the corporate accelerators and private accelerators. So those companies are looking for innovation resources. So that is the time, these startups can fill the role of being a resource for R&D, so the startup becomes a resource for the big companies in sourcing innovation. So that's the role played by the accelerators. And these big companies will then take them to the market, go to market as we call it. So they partner with the startup and take them to the market. Okay. And then coming to the next step, what we do in 100 Open Startups is we help both incubators and accelerators by helping them to go to next level to, for example, let us say these startups that are coming out of accelerators go to what's called level 4 on our program, which is to say that they get a direct meeting, one-on-one meeting with investors and corporations for 20 minutes. And this is on a global level. That is leading to investments and business. Similarly, incubators, startups coming from incubators, go to level 3 on our program, where the level 3 is nothing but it's a demo day or a pitch day where they will be pitching to investors. A similar event like Kuberan House is what in our parlance is called level 3. Okay. So in our program, any such pitch event is called level 3. Okay. And there the audience are investors. And these meetings, which is happening with these, whether it's a corporate or startups, corporate and investors, this will then lead to business as well as investments. So that is how these companies can go to next level. They scale to next level. Okay. And so that is the role played by 100 Open Startups. So we are now 14 years old program. And our goal for this Kuberan House is once the startups have pitched, let us say we're going to have 13 episodes, 60 startups are going to pitch. All of those startups will be directly fast track to level 4 on our program to find business on a global level. So we are helping them after they get the investments with Kuberan House. We are helping them to go global and then find customers. Because at the end of the day, these investors have to be paid back. There is going to be a return on investment that has to happen. And the investor cannot forever wait after investing to get his money back. So we have to also create a program where these exits can happen. And so this exit is the early stage investors have to get their money back with multiple return, as we call 2x, 3x, etc. So let us say they put 1 crore into a startup, they have to get back some good return so that they can give the money back to the investors. Because usually these are funds and they are answerable to the investors, individual investors. And that is how our program works in terms of building sustainability. That is, the investors will get back their money and they can then put this money back into other startups. So that is how we have built what is called sustainability of the innovation ecosystem. And I will stop here because I think I've answered all the key questions that you had, and I want Sanjeev to take over. Thank you.
Yes, thanks so much, Mr. Bharat, for those insights. And I think these were great insights in order to understand the importance of accelerator programs, incubators, and the main importance of the 100 Open initiative, which is quite different and unique from the other existing platforms. And it also summarized areas around, helping companies going global is also the most important journey of a growth journey of a startup. And at any point, it's all about scale and adaptability to a market need. And that's where even 100 Open Startups really help. And thanks to your visionary and your initiatives along with Mr. Bruno for making this happen, Mr. Bharat. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And, we really wish the very best for all the entrepreneurs that are going to participate and also to the entire team on both our sides to make this a big success for all the entrepreneurs.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I would move on to our, other speakers. I would like to introduce Mr. Sanjeev K. Kumar, uh, my colleague, sir, my visionary, who's our co-founder and chief executive officer of Kuberan's House, the main brainchild of Kuberan's House. Mr. Sanjay K. Kumar has been in the side of media industry and various other initiatives over the past 3 decades. Close to 99 plus reality shows into the entertainment industry on the TV platform. It's from different initiatives on the various entertainment angles, but this is one of the unique kinds through this initiative that has come in, and I'm really glad and happy I'm a part of this along with Sir and the core team. Mr. Sanjeev sir, I think if I missed out any introductions of a larger capacity, I apologize, but hopefully I've covered at least the brief summary of the initiatives, and I would request you to take a unique topic today, which is our everyday set of things that we do, and the story of why Kuberan's House started, the vision behind it, and how does it help startups. And then we will move on to certain other processes with Srinivas, which I will take it at other capacity. So, Mr. Sanjeev, over to you, sir.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everybody. It's good to be on a webinar on a startup. I never cut to last year. I never envisaged myself being a part of a webinar with the startup community. But having said that, I think I come from most of the common lingo, the incubator. And Bharat sir, thanks for the take on the international thing. I think that's something very very unique that 100 open startups bring to Kuberan's House. But I would like to say that we do not we the basic part of it is I didn't know incubator, I didn't know accelerator, I didn't know startup, I didn't know equity last year same time. So it took quite a learning from me. So I would like to relate to most of the community that think that startups can get business and investment. I didn't know much about it, but I got a learning on it, and thanks to people like Varat Sab and Govind, and who are already know about the startup community. It was a great learning for me personally. But yeah, startup has always been my thing in the way that we've been handling various reality shows, because every reality show, every common man coming from nowhere and being part of the show is always a startup. I mean, it's a startup in a different way. I mean, any talent is a startup, and after he or she features on the show, they become semi kind of a celebrities, and they form a community around themselves, and there's a lot of the investment happens, there's a lot of money exchange. So I come from a point where I didn't know much about the startup thing last year, but it took quite a learning from me, and interacting with people around the startup community. But I think the first season of Kuberan's House is basically to inspire more startups in the most simplest possible way. I say the simplest possible way because it comes as a learning for me when I wanted to learn about it, and when I wanted to know about it, and how the equity works, what is the the valuation process, how the business model works. I would probably relate to a common man more than the startup community, because I would want to learn things on the show. I mean, it is never in India that you can think that a beautiful idea can gain investment. See, I come from the model where the education system has never ever interpreted entrepreneurship. The way that it is not part of our curriculum. It is not part of our the thought process. It is not what it's not part of the parenthood. And it has never been in the entire system that anybody who wants to finish a degree and go and become an entrepreneur, it's a no. So it basically comes from the fact that entrepreneurship is a lot of risk. So I think we should on the first season of Kuberan's House, we should simplify this entire process. It's not about risk. It is about a lot of a drive and a lot of inputs from various sources and getting the act together in terms of the business community. I think Kuberan's House, the first season will be a benchmark in terms of teaching people and making them learn and unlearn certain processes that they think about business and entrepreneurship. That is the first foresight that I have in terms of, we as a team have been we formed a great team around the startup community. There is Govind. Great to have Varad sir on board, and there is so much of knowledge share that has happened over the team that we will be in a great position to tell that it is not only about risk taking when it comes to entrepreneurship. I come from the fact that it has to be simplified, very clearly made understood to people that your idea can fetch an investment by itself. But there has to be a proper module to it. There has to be a proper system to it. There's a way of valuation. I think that is the perspective of Kuberan South in season one.
Thanks, Mr. Sanjeev. Along with that, I would want you to contribute another point, stating the differentiations between Kuberan's House initiative versus other initiatives. It could be conferences, etc. Right? Where so how do you want to differentiate that in a couple of lines or in a brief note under this initiative? So if you want to express that to the audience and the yeah.
See, very quickly, I mean, to do a reality show out of startups would not have been a difficult thing. I mean, we go up to various forums, and Varad himself has quite a huge database of the best startups. We could have picked up from anywhere, and we could have done this and put up a show. Kuberan's House as a thought process is not about putting up a show. It is about forming an entire ecosystem, a new ecosystem, which there is a great knowledge share in terms of how the startup community works, how there is unison in the way we think. I keep telling people, I mean, people always think, I get so many messages, so many calls saying that, will my idea get an investment? But I keep saying that the other side of the fact is also true. There are people waiting with, money, but they want a great idea. So the investment angle is a very, very great factor. So there is a demand, there is a supply, but the demand and supply have to be met with the right kind of a knowledge share, with the right kind of people, and they need to be developed over the period of time, and then demand meets supply. So I think there needs to be more forum, but I'm very, very honestly, Kuberan House will not match up in terms of the quantity of startups which have been converted into active entrepreneurship. But I think we'll make a change. The change has to come in the mind with a lot of people. If people across India think that this is the process to get investment for an idea, I think there will be more great ideas in the market. That is the whole idea and the thought process, the vision behind Kuberan's House.
Right, sir. So, having said that, where do you see Kuberan's House being the ultimate differentiator? That's something we are really proud to say. Why we are doing this and what could be the outcomes of this entire initiative. So, just a few lines around it, and then I will have the process of Kuberan's House taken under Srini's note.
Yes. Sure. Yeah, I mean, people like Srini, people like 9XP, 100 startups have contributed immensely. Basically, as a thought process, we always wanted to have people and great share in terms of the kind of domain expertise that we wanted to have. We didn't want to become a reality show. And I think, Kuberan's House is all about how you project the entire startup and the entire process onto a general entertainment platform. The whole idea was to put it onto a general entertainment platform. I keep saying this, that anybody who watches Kaun Banega Crorepati is a possible viewer of our show. So that is the way that we want to project it. But keeping the entirety of the the process, the technicalities of the process. It can't be just people walking in and showcasing their idea and they get an investment. It can't be that. There has to be a proper modulation in terms of how we take them, the incubation model, the accelerated model. I think that is where 100 open startups and people like Varad come in, because they bring in so much of technicality into it. So it is not only about a showcase, but it's a proper showcase, and it's a real showcase. That is the whole idea of Kuberan's house. I think, people across India who will see this after the first season, I think there are going to be a lot, many more. I see 10x, 20x, 30x startups being generated. Anybody could, come up with a possibility of an idea, and that idea could be incubated and accelerated and brought onto a platform. So, it is more about a showcase that we want in Kuberan House, but it is also about the entirety of the way we go about it. That was very important, very crucial as to how we formed the team and got this together. So that's the idea.
Right, sir. Thank you so much for these insights. I think these were great insights, and we're really proud of the initiative. Me also being the part of the team, and which we celebrate every day, taking this initiative forward one by one, stage by stage. This is all for the entrepreneurs and the startup ecosystem that we are proud to be a part of this initiative and going forward. So, sir, I will take my next discussion with Mr. Srinivas on the process of Kuberan's house. And the stringent process that involves to bring the top startups to the general entertainment channels. So, Mr. Srinivas, hi.
Hi,
Are you there?
Govind.
Yeah,
Hi, Govind. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening. Srinivas, so I think I need to introduce Srinivas again. So, Srinivas has been the first gen entrepreneur himself. He's running his own startup, which is called Express Logistics. So it's basically into hyper local last mile delivery logistics company, which actually solved a lot of issues and initiatives during the current pandemic that really helped him scale his business. And he's been an engineering himself and raised a couple of rounds during his startup growth journey. And so Srinivas also is an integral part of our Kuberan's House team from the 9X team. And Srinivas, a question around, expressing areas of processes that revolves around startup ecosystems, bringing the best startups. So could you just throw some light on what processes are we following to do this, to bring the best startups on board across sectors coming from every state of India? So how do you want to kind of ballpark and explain the audience? Over to you, Srinivas.
Sure, Govind. So I'm Srinivas, guys. Good evening, everyone. Very proud to be part of Team Kuberan House. When I met Sanjeev sir through a common friend, I was spellbound with the amazing energy that he has, and the way he's channelizing his energies towards bringing creativity and media as a platform for showcasing startups. Right. When I just met him, so I started explaining how startup evaluations and all of these work. So post that, when we started Kuberan's House, not sure about the media part of it, but about the valuation and evaluation part of it, it is the toughest part ever. So thousands of startups applying, applications coming from the entrepreneurial journeys, the ideation journeys from across, India, right from east to west, north to south. We have been getting applications, and getting through every single application is really hard. And the toughest part has always been not missing one good application. So Sanjeev sir has been talking about not missing that one good application. He said, no matter what, we should have that one good application on the show. So we have been scouting for that one good application, and the process has been very stringent in terms of the qualitative filtering that we are having. So the final people who will come on the board, I would certainly say they are the most luckiest ones and the most hardworking ones. Otherwise, they will not be on the show for sure. So in terms of processes, we have been receiving applications, right? We opened, the application process, and then we extended as well, because a lot of people were not able to give the details that we are asking. That itself proves, the application process has been very qualitative. It is not just roaming around the quantity part of it. So in terms of applications, Govind, in specific, what is that you wanted me to take up? So we have been going through every single application that has been coming, and we have been scouting for not missing that one good application that Sanjeev sir has been talking about.
Yeah.
No,
So
I mean,
Srinivas,
I
the
would
process.
like to add, Srinivas comes from a fact that from a zone where he himself had a great idea. He built a startup around it, got invested, and the entire journey. He's still continuing the journey, and that's a great part of the knowledge share that we have. Because his journey is becomes a sample example kind of a stuff in terms of how we evaluate other startups, where are the problems, where are the hitches, how they actually go about it. And it's so wonderful to have him on the team. And he's part of 9XP, which we've created, and which is a an independent, but it is a part of the system of Kuberan's house, the ecosystem where they actually screen applicants. So Srinivas is a very integral part of a team. So why I'm saying it is that the person who has written an exam is the examiner today. So that is where the entire beauty part of it comes. So he's gone through the examination process and he's still going through, and he will also go to the next level where 100 open startups wants to take the entire community where it is going to go abroad, get investment. But Srinivas by himself has gone through the entire process of how an idea started, it became a an enterprise by himself, and he's doing very fairly good today. So that
Right.
kind of a knowledge share as a personal level startup coming into Kuberan's house is a great experience that
Yes.
we've had. So Srinivas, I
Yes,
think
sir.
he being himself and being a part of the startup, and he himself being a startup is a great experience.
Thank you so much for the kind words, sir.
And
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
Kuberan.
I, I
So,
always call you a go-getter, Srinivas. So I think you're a go-getter, and I think that go-getter should be everybody in the market who's a go-getter, and that's what we are trying to devise. We want the best of the go-getter startups to come and get invested in. That is the whole idea.
Yes, sir.
right, sir. So, sir, one thing that the audience wants to know is the process, which is revolving around the process of 1,500, 160, that ratio of that ratio of distribution, Srinivas.
Yeah, Govind. So basically, Govind, what we are currently doing is screening all these applicants so that we shortlist to 500 super strong applications. So right from the day we have been receiving applications, we have been processing them right, on the same day itself. We have been scoring them, and relative scoring is also kept. So what happens is, I score some application today with X, and again I review it after a week's time so that I don't miss that particular X for whatever reasons, right? So from there, we have been screening applications. So the next target would be coming down to the 500 strong applications. So these 500 strong applications will pose a next level of challenge to all of us. That it has a multi-layered review of each of these applications, right? So NXV as a screening partner reviews it, and the Kuberan House team will also further review it, and then it goes to the top 100 applications where there is a process of meeting all the 100 startups.
Correct.
So this show is not just about the show or the shoot that is going to happen, but it is going to be about the 360-degree evolution of the startup, right from the time of application till the show itself. So it is
Sure.
going to be
Rightly
process.
So that means to,
Yeah.
So that means to say the top 500 applications will go through a unique fellowship certification initiative from Kuberan's house,
Yes.
where they'll be certified as the top 500 startups.
Yeah.
From there, we'll move on to top 100 startups who will go through a workshop, a dedicated, curated mentor-mentee session workshops
Yes.
dedicated to these 100 startups that basically brings in more initiative, knowledge share, and all of these things that would definitely have as an exchange from various mentors across the country. 3 dedicated workshop. With that, we will have conversion of top 60 startups, which make it to the general entertainment channel. So I think that is what we were trying to express into this entire discussion.
And
To
just
say-
Govind, I
yes.
would like to add one thing. So the 100 startups, the physical workshop that they are going to attend, it is not just a platform for knowledge sharing, but this is going to be connection with the industry experts, right? Both the startup experts and even the corporate experts. So I mean, what I would like to add is knowledge sharing is not mere knowledge sharing. There are hundreds of platforms, but what Kuberan House has to offer as a knowledge sharing platform is going to be very unique and very relatable and relevant.
True.
Yes. So I think with that, we have that. I think we have definitely expressed a lot of things that 100 Open Startups gives us initiatives, and how it is supporting Kuberan's House ecosystem along with its ecosystem initiatives. We have also covered the areas of why Kuberan's House, how is it different from the other platforms, how is it going to help entrepreneurs, how is it going to help reach the actual investors one is to one, and then also about the process and journey we took through saying how these 1,000 startups would be getting into top 60. So we think we have definitely covered the elaborate segment of this webinar session today, which is session 3 of the series initiative that's been happening. What I
I
would
would want to
request,
I would want it to be
yes,
a little bit more interactive. I can see that around 28 uh, participants are part of this. So I
yes,
think
sir,
we should throw open the interactive session, and I would love to
yes, sir,
hear the kind of what they think about it. See, we've been talking in unison in terms of from our perspective. I always believe that there is the common man perspective, there is the entrepreneur's perspective. I would want to hear and probably answer question, and Varad also is here, so I think there could be a great knowledge share. I think we should throw open it as an interactive platform.
yes, sir. There are some questions coming up, so I will have those questions devised.
Please.
And so there are some questions around ideation based prototype stage kind of an investments.
Okay.
Uh, will startups have a chance to be in this segment of their startup journey and still get an investment? Is a question. This question has come from Nikhil.
Yeah, they are
So,
certainly going to be a
Sanjeev
part of it.
sir,
Yeah. Yeah, we have two segments in the entire way that we whole process it. There is the ideator segment, there's the entrepreneur segment. Ideator is basically somebody who's got a great idea but does not have a business model. I think we've been trying to reach out this part to quite a lot of people because there's a little bit of confusion around the new people who are wanting to do a startup. So I think that segment is quite well explained. I think we're trying to put up a video around this so that it's properly explained to everybody and anybody.
okay, sir. So, and there are some questions around can there be a particular sector like free energy technologies or energy based startups who are creating unique innovation on the energy sector? Can they also apply? Is the questions coming from the audience?
Any sector, any region, any kind of specifics in terms of that is welcome on Kuberan's House. See, Kuberan's House is a platform is going to be open all around the year. It is not about after the show is over or things like that. Yes, we'll close the application for season 1 by January 30th, but we are looking at this as a process round through the year. So we want to take this forum into various fields. We are looking at OTT, we are looking at YouTube, we are looking at taking startups from here abroad and getting funding around, and we're looking at a complete universe in terms of the startup community in a very minuscule way. I would agree, but it is not the size that it matters to us. It is the kind of vision, the kind of the platform, the kind of showcase that matters to us more than the number of startups that we convert. It is about the entire process. So I think any startups from any this thing is sector is welcome.
Okay. So there are also questions around what is the total time that it would take for the entire process to start, list a startup into the top 60 segment. And there's another question around it saying, when is the announcements of top 500 going to happen?
It's going to take 2 months. We're closing applications January 30th, and February would be the month where we'll actually screen them. And we are looking at the end of February to have the 500 startups and also the workshops very parallel to each other, because by the time we identify the 500 startups, we would have also identified the 100 top startups, and they would be called for a workshop in the March around February end or March first week. The timelines have to be devised because the kind of application that poured in, we were forced to extend it by a period of a month. So we've extended till January 30th. So we're basically looking at around February or March second week where the workshop would happen, and we should look at the show per se in March third week or fourth week.
Okay, sir. So, Mr. Varad, a question for you coming from the audience is: do you think, and investors would be encouraging startups who are not generating revenue versus generating revenue? Where do you see an opportunity of startups getting successful funding? Is it by startups having a story of a generation of a revenue or no revenue?
It's a good question. So my answer is like this: the investors are going to look at potential for revenue generation. Which are the startups that have the most potential is what they look at. Because having been myself an angel investor, plus I have raised enough rounds my own startups in the past. Like I mentioned to you, right? 5 exits I had. So when I look at my own experiences, I can say investors look at how they can get the money back and with the multiples. So it is just not, suppose they're putting 1 crore, you're going to give 1 crore 10 lakhs. That is not what they look at. They are looking at a lucrative return much better than an FD. If they were to put this money elsewhere, they can get a better return, probably in real estate or something. They can get a better return, but they are looking at a multiple return, which is why they are investing into the startups. They're looking at betting at the startups. And even if they have revenue generation potential, they will invest. Of course, if you have 2, 3 revenue making opportunities, if you're raising, say, for example, 1 crore, and you have already 3 customers, then your chances are much brighter because
Right.
you are past that risk stage. So then the
Correct.
investors take a better bet. They are more confident that you will succeed.
Right, sir. So you're saying a basic MVP with a certain traction will still give a success rate or the future growth of the startup, which will gain
Absolutely.
the confidence of. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would like to add into what Varad just mentioned. See, there have been these templates of, there have been a couple of things like this around the market for the last 5 years. But the whole problem was with these models, there has been 0% conversion. So unless we believe, from Kuberan House, that there has to be very, very active conversion after season one, and then only we get valued, and then only the brand gets valued. So we believe in conversion, and we are, ensuring with our investor community and also with the startup community that there is proper business module made and generated so that the conversion happens seamlessly and effectively. So conversion is a very, very important part of any forum, and it is more important because it is a media forum that we are trying to do. So it becomes that much more important. So conversion is the essence of Kuberan's house.
Okay. Thank you, sir. One last question that is coming in from the audience is how does global exposure help in pivoting their idea into a particular market? What is it?
Oh, yeah. So it is, once you have developed some customers in your local market, let us say in India, then let us say 2, 3 customers, then it is time for you to look at growth coming from elsewhere. So I want to clarify 2 things here. One is called scale up. Okay. Scaling up means you're not going to invest too much money. With the existing resources, you're looking at scaling your company. Okay. Growth is when you're investing money and bringing in additional revenues, and also I would call as more growth for the company. So that is through investments, real investments that will need to come, and just to be a follow-on rounds. So let us say that they get pre-series A or series A level funding in India. Then they have to look at further rounds outside India because there is only certain limited capacity the Indian investors have. So the follow-on rounds have to come from global big names, and they will come in and they will help you to set up operations and offices. The revenues will then grow further to give better returns. And in the process, the local investor, the Indian investor, gets an exit. And he can, of course, stay invested, some portion of it. Maybe mostly 50% they will exit, 50% they will still hold on to wait for further growth. So this is how investors play the game. And so to answer your question, the main growth is going to come from global markets. And it is very essential for any startup to be aligned to the global requirements and the global needs.
Right. So, Sanjay sir, one thing that I have from my side, as a question is, why are we calling it apply your dream in our entire initiatives, in our entire campaigns for entrepreneurs? What is the message, that we are trying to express to the entrepreneurs or ideators or anyone out there? Why apply your dream?
See, dream is something very holistic, very natural to anybody. You don't need a business model to dream.
Yes.
And you don't need any great expertise or thought process or education to dream. But it comes from the point that anybody, is quite capable of dreaming. But if your dream has got a basic business module and it can be brought into the universe and helping other people and also generating funds on its own, I think it's a great thing, a great initiative. So I think a dream is something. We wanted to come up with a term which is very very universal, which applies to anybody. We are also looking at that market where a forum where it is between 1 lakh and 50 lakhs. That is the
Mm-hmm.
investing forum. We're looking at small
Correct.
businesses. So I think dream does not have a figure to it.
Limitation. There is no
Dream,
limitation or
yeah, dream
yes.
could be anything. It could be a boutique. It could be a idli vada shop. It could be anything in the world. And
Right.
dream is something very universal. So I thought, apply your dream is very, very important because people dream and they don't know where to apply and how to apply
Correct.
and make it, a reality. So I think, apply your dream. I think, Govind, you also have contributed to it. I know you're smiling there, but yeah. So that term came in with a little bit of a thought process in terms of apply
Yes, sir. I
and
think
these two
I
things.
think, sir, I think well said, because I think it basically amplifies the vision of the founders from where they started and
See,
how.
Govind, I have been telling. I mean, see, we are having a very intrinsic discussion in terms of that. But for me, even the technicalities of whatever we have spoken is not applicable to the entertainment model because
Mhm.
the way we're talking a little bit of technique. We are talking about a little bit of those terms. I think it has to be further simplified onto a general entertainment module. That is
Correct.
where we come in. That is where we bring so much of thing, but keeping the kind of the module in terms of the technicality is very very intact. We don't want to put up a show without any substance. There has to be
Mhm.
substance, there has to be matter, and there has to be a great show. That is the whole idea. So the entire thought process is about there has to be a lot of thought process which goes into every startup which is present on the show, and then there should be fun happening on the show, and it is
Yes.
all about investment. See, I keep telling that I want to celebrate. I mean, on the show we want to celebrate an idea getting invested in.
Mhm.
Like happens on a dance show, a reality show, or anything in the world, there needs to be a celebration of an idea getting investment, and that is a moment that will take the entire startup community to very very far level. I am looking at cheerleaders coming in, and I'm looking at blasts around when that idea gets invested. There has to be a
Yes.
complete celebration, like a Deepavali kind of a package has to happen, because that is when people will understand, oh yeah, this is something big, and that is what it is. I mean, so it is how you project it. It is how it is. I mean, it can't happen with just a handshake. We are calling it a golden handshake. So the entire process, the way that an idea get invested, has to be celebrated. That is also one of the modules
Yes,
that
sir.
we are looking at.
Yes, sir. Also, just concluding the
Whereas
session
that
from
I
the
would want to
lines.
know whether the pure man agrees to what the entity.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And
Yeah.
it is very fascinating when a company like Google,
Uh-huh.
it is valued at, almost $1 trillion. So you see what they do, just google.com, you just a search engine. So you worry that, do we pay? I mean, a company can be valued so much for just a search engine, but there is so much behind it. So as you rightly said, everything starts with a dream, and the dream is the one which need to be executed with the support from everybody in the ecosystem. So that is so important. Uh, I think there is some noise in the
Some
background.
voice.
Yeah. A lot of
Someone
noise.
can, yes,
Yeah.
I think now yes. Thank you. I think someone muted, then it became all right. So I was just saying, right? all starts with a dream, and the dream then has to be executed with the support from the ecosystem, maybe incubators, accelerators, people like KH, and everyone in the ecosystem plays a role by pushing this entrepreneur to increase his envelope. I would call it like that, to push beyond the limit, so that they keep bringing out their best results in every step of the way to bring success. And as you rightly said, why we celebrate, as you said, like big musicians, big dancers, those kind of shows happen all the time. But why not entrepreneurs? So this is a very unique concept, and I really congratulate you, Sanjeev, for thinking on these lines and bringing the entrepreneurs on par with these kind of celebrities, right? Why not entrepreneurs also be celebrated? We should celebrate their success, and thereby we create a culture, right? There are a lot of musicians because of these great singers like A.R. Rahman. Many singers joined the bandwagon, right? They became musicians. They may not become A.R. Rahman, but then they began to get inspired by Rahman and began to sing. So the same way, maybe every entrepreneur is not going to become very hugely successful, but they will get inspired by the shows. And instead of becoming employees, they become employers. And today's situation in the country is that we cannot create employment for everybody, right? And if somebody has to create employment for others, so they have to become employers rather than employees. So I think this is also a very important contribution, Sanjeev, you are making to the ecosystem. And I want to thank you for that.
When it comes with, so much of expertise from your end and people around, I mean, this is the thought process, but then it takes a lot of people, a lot of energy, a lot of knowledge here to be, doing whatever we are doing. And, it's a great honor to have 100 open startups, as part of the community. I think, the next season, I think we should take this forward and, make it more interesting and more built in terms of how it is. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I want to tell you, we've been doing programs with Forbes channel, as well as with CNN, okay, globally. So, I'm just thinking, why not those kind of, experiences we bring in here? So anyway, we have started now. This is a great step. And we will bring more value for you from a global, experiences for you, so that this program can be pushed to next level.
True.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Amazing. Yeah. Awesome. I mean, this was great session. Thank you, Bharat sir. Thank you, Sanjeev sir. Thank you, Srini. And we also thank Mr. Bruno. Our wishes and thanks from our end, from here, Mr. Bharat. Please do convey this message. And I thank all the attendees from various places who have come in and joined such short notice. I think this was very fulfilling, very insightful, very encouraging for more initiatives that's going to come in very soon. And we are very amazed and thankful and grateful to have partners like 100 Open Startups as a global strategy partner, who's taking us to the next level. The WOW's Association on the Alumni Network to reach the startup ecosystem community at the Student Network platform, and also partnering with all the intrinsic community of 9XP, who's doing the screening and processing from Srinivas' side. So I think holistically, this was very fulfilling as a discussion that we had today. And I'm thankful to all the speakers once again and the audience. And I conclude this webinar session now. Thank you all so much. Have a great evening and have a great weekend ahead. Any final notes, sir?
I think the change is, we need to be the change that what we want to see. So if we are talking about Make in India, we'll only be talking about it. I think, it has to be done. So, I think that is where, the entire thought process, the entire energy comes from. I know a couple of people on this webinar, but, that's the energy that we want to instill in young minds. We want to make this happen and make it become a institution. That is the whole thought process. It should become Kuberan's House, should not be a show. It should not be an organization. It should be a complete revolution is the whole thought process, that is the change that we want to get into the market. And that is how we want to grow and, be there. That's very, very important.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much once again, sir. I conclude the meeting. Thank you all. Thank you all once again.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all. See you. Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vikram. Thank you.